What's up, guys? Welcome to our pre-season build-up for Season 3 of our playthrough of Grand Prix World. I've had another cup of coffee, so I'm a little bit more awake than I was for this morning's episode, so hopefully I can remember how to speak English. Let's proceed. So a summary from last season, of course, is we had a really good performance, which is, it is accurate. We came in 5th in the Constructors, which was a step forward for us, definitely. Manager of the Year went to Ron Dennis. The Constructors' Championship went to McLaren. However, it was Williams driver Michael Schumacher that took the Drivers' Championship. Okay, so let's take a review of where everyone stands at the moment. Pedro Diniz is still very unhappy, but we need to take a look at where the drivers are first of all. So let's see. Lining up for arrows this year is the same as last year. We have Pedro Diniz and Shinji Nakano as equal driver 1, with Carl Eisen as our test driver. Damon Hill has replaced Eddie Irvine at Benetton. Esteban Tuero has stayed on and will remain at the team till 2002. Emmanuel Collard, who left us for Benetton, is on final season of his contract as test driver there. Heinz-Harald Frentzen remains at Ferrari, teaming with Rubens Barrichello with Stefan Sarrazin in the test seat. Barrichello is contracted to the second driver role at Ferrari until 2003. Over at Jordan, Jean Alesi and Alexander Wurz continue their partnership with Jarno Trulli in the test role. That's a real waste of Trulli's talents, actually. But he is available next season, so maybe that's someone we could consider sweeping in and grabbing. At McLaren, David Coulthard and Johnny Newhouse continue their partnership with Luca Badoer as test driver. At Minardi, Mika Salo is now partnered by Jan Magnussen following the retirement of Olivier Panis. Laurent Redon is their test driver. Prost, their driver lineup continues and will continue to 2002 with Mika Hakkinen in the lead driver seat, supported by I think it's Alessandro Marini, but I could be wrong. Celso Moriera is their test driver. Over at Sauber, we have equal driver 1s with Giancarlo Fisichella teaming with Johnny Herbert, who's in his final season. Ralf Schumacher will be testing for them. At Stewart, Ricardo Rosset leads, supported by Andrea Montemini, and Jörg Müller is the test driver there. And Tyrrell's driver lineup is also unchanged, with Juan Pablo Montoya and Teranosuke Takagi in equal driver 1 roles, supported by our very own John Fellows. Eddie Irvine moves to Williams to partner Michael Schumacher on an equal number 1 role. Ricardo Zonta is their test driver. No big names really, except for Olivier Panis, who has retired. He can choose to return, but I suspect that he won't. In terms of driver lineup, there's not really any huge changes there that would signify to me that we're going to see a massive change in performance. If Damon Hill's season this season continues as it did in '99, then it could be that Benetton have made a bit of a damp squib purchase there. Ferrari have a very solid driver lineup. Frentzen and Barrichello are both solid drivers. Jordan 2 are running with Works Ferrari power this season, so they're in a very good position with Alesi and Wurz. It's always good to either develop 2 talented young drivers or have a setup like this where you have a very experienced lead driver supported by a strong newcomer. I think the strongest lineup on the grid is arguably McLaren, Coulthard and Villeneuve. Villeneuve bizarrely has taken a number 2 role, which is very unlike him. Over at Minardi, Jan Magnussen and Mika Salo there till 2004. That is a puzzler. I can't understand why Minardi would have made that decision. It could be for consistency, so we might see them take a step forward. It's a good formula on paper, with Salo as the experienced lead driver supported by the very young Jan Magnussen. However, neither driver is particularly stellar. Salo can be consistent, but in this game he's had 2 very, very bad seasons, and Magnussen's talent is questionable. There is potential to develop, but I really don't see it. Hakkinen being at Prost, he cannot be happy to be there for another season. I wouldn't expect him to extend his contract past 2002. But it is a strong card they've got in their sleeve there. Marini could be learning a lot from him. Maybe he's coming along as a driver. We can take a look at his statistics. No, he's not learned anything. Fisichella and Herbert is another good match. Very hard to say though who would be a good replacement for Herbert. I guess they could do with Fisichella and Trulli would be a good matchup there. Jürg Muller has not developed at all, so he probably needs a race seat really to go any further. Meanwhile, John Fellows continues to be one of the more promising young drivers, given that he has 2 extra points rather than simply 1 or none. A test roll probably will stunt his development, so really he needs to be in a race seat as soon as possible. Michael Schumacher in his last season at Williams potentially. I could see them extending it, given that he's a driver's champion now. I don't expect Ricardo Zonta to take a step up this season. Let's go over to the commercial heads. A lot of people are free, namely Ian Phillips and Stefano Domenicali are both reasonable prospects, and Ian Phillips is still under the 3% threshold, the 5% threshold, I'm sorry. It's a big increase in spending, but I think if we could convince him to move over to us to replace Ivan Manzoni, that would be a very good move for us. So I'm going to combine the pre-season with staff hiring and firing. I think that's smart, and then we'll do the actual sponsors and car prep setup with the qualifying episode. I'm going to offer him basically an extra 100k and an extra 1%. I'd like to have him for 2 seasons, but I imagine he'll only sign for 1. Let's put an offer in for 1 season. Financial packet isn't strong enough, and he wants a bigger commission. Maybe Domenicali is more accommodating. No, he's not prepared to sign with us either. Well, Ekram Sami, 4 is almost 5 by most people's reckoning. I'll give him a big boost there, but he's not going to get any. No, I mean we're starting to reach that 5% threshold really. It might be better to take one of these guys who's been out of the sport. We'll give it some thought. In the design office, Rory Byrne is available, and he is the only 5-star available. He's going to be expensive. 3.1 million. That's probably a bit rich for our blood, really. Neil Oatley is another good option, 1.9 million. I think if we come in at 2.28 million for 2 seasons, I think that's probably a good deal for us. He wants more pay and a bigger bonus. That's probably something we can work with, actually. So we'll leave him. In the construction office, John Barnard is again free, but 2.3 million is a big ask. Ross Brawn has priced himself out of the market in our case, as has Patrick Head. Adrian Newey, 5.8 million. Pat Simmons, 3.2 million. Yeah, we don't really have a lot of option here. We're going to have to spend a lot more money to get some level of progress here. Barnard is 2.3 million. He's the cheapest of the 4 and 5 stars by some considerable amount. It's a bit of a risk for us, but I think we can probably go to 2.7 million without too much trouble. We'll try and get him for 2 seasons. Again, there's some potential here to work. There is some potential. So I won't make a signing immediately. And for our chief mechanic, we already identified Carl Gaden as our target. He will only sign for 1 season. Usually 5-star team leads will only sign for a single season. I'm giving him a significant pay increase. Hopefully, again, that's something we can work with. We can work with it. Nigel Stepney is actually a cheaper option. Let's see if he's a bit more flexible. No. So we're probably trying a little bit too early to get these guys, but I think it's worth us taking the shot. Tim Edwards and Cowlinshaw here are also reasonable options, but we really do want to be taking a step forward if at all possible. I think we can probably get away with waiting one round. Okay, so suppliers. Let's take a look who's rocking what this year. Team sponsors. East are partnered with Ferrari, whereas Murano are sponsoring Sauber until 2002. Winfried are with the Jordan team. That's the three biggest spending sponsors. So Jordan have a serious war chest this season. That's something that we should keep in mind. Playlife will sponsor McLaren until 2002, whereas Blondes and Buzzing Hornets remain respectively with Stewart and Williams. Prost's deal with Red Bull is up, and I think we're in a position to steal that deal. So we will, spoilers, we will be talking to Red Bull. I think that's really important. Over on the engine front, for 2000 and 2001, Benetton will be supplied a work supply of Mercedes-Benz engines, and they are the preferred partner. So they are getting the full works service there. A secondary works partner in the form of McLaren is in place for this season, although that is a 1-year deal. Sauber also have 1 year this season only remaining on their partner deal with Mercedes-Benz. Over at Ferrari, they've got 2 works efforts, although we are the primary works partner, with Jordan taking the dregs there, and Minardi's partnership with Peugeot has remained for a further season. Mugen Honda is supplying nobody this season. This is the last season of Ferrari's Works Ford deal. Williams have remained as partner. That's interesting. Oh no, Williams switched. That's correct. Williams' partner deal runs until at least 2001, as does Prost's partner Ford deal. Stewart have committed to 2 seasons as a Mechachrome customer, and Tyrrell are in the final season of their Mechachrome deal. Hart remain as unloved as ever. On the tyre front, it's going to be a split, obviously, between 2 suppliers, as neither Michelin or I can't remember who the other one is have entered. Sauber have a work supply of Bridgestones, and they seem to be the preferred partner. So why we weren't offered a potential works deal is beyond me, because they did have a second work supply available. Prost ourselves are the partners, and Tyrrell have got a 2-season customer deal with Bridgestone, whereas Goodyear seems to be the tyre to have. As far as the AI are concerned, Williams are the preferred works partner, although that deal concludes at the end of this season. A 2-season deal is in place, work supply for Ferrari. Jordan are a partner. McLaren are also on a 2-year partner deal, and the final 2 teams, Benetton and Stewart, are in the final year of their customer supply deals. Minardi has also got a customer supply of Goodyear's. Over on the fuel front, Shell have got 2 work supplies, and they are both going to McLaren and Stewart. Stewart have another year to run after this one, whereas McLaren have to renegotiate a deal this year. Mobil's partner deal is vacant, although bear in mind this does change. There's not always 2 work supplies of different things. It's up and down. But Benetton do have the preferential works deal with Mobil. Texaco has 2 partners in the shape of Prost and Minardi. That's probably why our own partner deal with them didn't work out. Total are a partner of Sauber. Jordan have a 2-year partnership deal with Agip, whereas Tyrrell are a customer supply of that brand. We are a customer with Petrobras, although the supply is free of charge, so we're essentially a partner. And Ferrari is a partner of Elf, while Williams are in seasons 2 and 3 of their extended customer deal, which was very, very odd to see, but apparently the research and development spending is the deciding factor there. Okay, so I think that about covers the pre-season episode. Bit of a short one, but I just thought it warranted being being on its own. Projections for the season. They're very difficult to make at this point. They're very, very difficult to make. I still see potential in the Sauber package, particularly with their driver lineup. Benetton are proving very hard to read, and I suppose it depends how well Damon Hill takes to the team. If he doesn't have a synergy with the car, then having Esteban Tuero as well is it's just going to result in a decent car that can't get good results because of the drivers that are behind the wheel. I could still see a three-way McLaren, Ferrari, Williams kind of duel up at the front, but I think our goal has to be fourth or above in the constructors. We don't know yet how well built the car is, so it's a lot of guesswork. We're making an assumption based on development time of the chassis and the consistency that we began to show at the end of last season, as well as the fact we have a bit more capacity for upgrading, and we're running a work supply Ferrari deal. I'd be very interested, before you watch the next episode that goes up, to see your projections below. So slam something in the comments below, and we'll see who calls it. I don't know, maybe I can even find a little prize to give away. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But either way, bit of fun. Let me know below. And as I stated in the last episode, let's take a look at the engine supplies before we go, because engine is a big decider. Oh wow, the Mercedes engine is a bit crap this year. The Ferrari stays pretty good, although its fuel economy is not great. Peugeot seems to... although Mercedes does have an insane amount of power. The Mugen Honda matches our number 3 spec from last season, so that's a pretty solid engine. Although the Peugeot is arguably the better option. Ford continued to provide excellent engines, though with severe reliability problems. The Mechachrome engine is as solid as ever, and the Hart engine is not too shabby actually, although it's only a customer supply. Take your time, pause the video if you need to, and try and capture some of the statistics, and then let me know below who do you want to deal with. Work supplies are available for these 3, so Mercedes, Ferrari, Peugeot, and also Ford. You can get partner deals from all of those as well, plus Mugen Honda. I believe only customer deals are available for Mechachrome and Hart. Thank you very, very much for joining me. I look forward to bringing you coverage of round 1 later today. Take care.